Just kind of my philosophy is like, hey, take the ball there, try to go score. That's a 10-minute, overtime. And if you don't score, you can punt them and back them up. And then if you get the stop, you'll probably get one more shot. That's kind of the thought process there. Now, if you do take the ball, right, and you go score, now they're in 4-down mode the whole way down. So there's the flip side of it too. So there's different thoughts and theories to it. And my thought there was take the ball, try to go score.
Welcome back to the channel. This is Marcus Sniffles, and I am still not over the Chiefs loss, but we're on to Houston, so let's talk about that.
Here, Indiana move. We from Indiana move. We from Indiana move. I'm an Indiana move.
Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. And he lost the ball. There's a fumble. Who's got it? The officials say the Colts do. Lost it way downfield, intercepted, coming forward and making the INT for the Colts in the back end. To see the Colts win Super Bowl. Hey, win on three. 1, 2, 3, win!
All right, so before we get started, we're still trying to get to 900 subscribers before the end of the season, which is in February. And right now we're at 891. Look at that, 891. All you got to do anywhere on YouTube, find the subscribe button, hit that so that 891 turns into 900, and we can keep going so we can keep running these numbers up. All right, so real quick, I do want to touch on a few things as far as like the offense. I know I kind of went on and on about the offense last week and how annoyed and disappointing I am with that. Just to shout out the few positives that we had. A lot of the quote-unquote other guys showed up pretty big. Ashton Dulin had a big game. Michael Pittman had another touchdown. He now has a career high in receiving touchdowns. Drew Ogletree also, his first cut to the season, which I didn't realize, but his first cut to the season was a touchdown. So it was cool that Shane was able to use players like Dulin and Ogletree, and even Mo Alley-Cox got a catch in there as almost like the focal points of the offense, because a lot of teams go into matchups against us looking to take away Tyler Warren and Michael Pittman Jr. So to have something for Ashton Dulin and Ogletree was a nice little switch up, but if we can still get Jonathan Taylor the ball, that would be great. And for one, I know I saw a lot of it on social media and on a few Colts content creators pages and TikTok and all that stuff. I'm not going to be someone that's going to complain about the reffing in a game as far as penalties and all that. Like, if you don't want the refs to screw you over in a game, then play better or put up points or have it so where the gap is so wide as far as scoring that you don't have to worry about the refs making a make or break call for you. Like, obviously, a lot of these games in the NFL are one possession games for the most part. So a bad call can almost ruin a game, but I'm not going to get on here and complain about the refs. Like, the offense didn't play well enough, the coaching wasn't good enough, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, the refs are the reason why the Colts lost that game. I'm not doing that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Colts defense and a slight little preview about the Texans game and the one thing that I'm thankful for this season. Now, if you see me like looking down a lot for some, I don't know, I still like to take notes, like put pen to paper and write things down when I'm like watching the game or thinking about stuff to do for the video. I use the notes app, but I don't know. There's something about like getting a pen and writing down some notes. So if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I'm just refreshing myself and looking at the notes. But the first thing that I only have about 4 observations defensively for the most part. Number one, I am not concerned about this defense. Like, with a caveat, as long as DeForest Buckner comes back, and that'll be another thing. But I'm not concerned about this defense. Like, the way they played against Kansas City, not concerned. We held them to 9 points heading into the fourth quarter and forced another turnover in that fourth quarter. If you were to tell me that going into the fourth quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs would have 9 points and a team with Jonathan Taylor and our offensive line, I would say we win that game. The defense played well enough to win, forcing 2 turnovers, sacking him 4 times. Patrick Mahomes was never comfortable in that pocket. Lou Anarumo coached a very, very good game, and the defense played very well. First turnover that we forced was one of the more important plays of the game because it was on the Kansas City Chiefs' first offensive drive, and we forced a turnover that put our offense in immediate scoring position. And without that first touchdown, we might have been down 7-0 starting that game as opposed to going up 7-0. So the defense pretty much led to our offense getting an easy touchdown. So kudos to them. And shout out to Latu. Latu has turned into primetime Deion Sanders out there when it comes to interceptions, because we'll talk a little bit about Charvarius Ward, but he got beat on that play that Latu made an interception on. So shout out to Latu for having it set up and being aware of what was going on. Yeah, but to force 3 punts and to only give up 3 field goals in 4 quarters to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, that's very impressive. I'm not going to sit here and look at the defense and say, hey, you guys got to do more in that 4th quarter when the offense continues to go 3 and out. Like, the defense did its job. And if you rewatch that game, there was a lot of coverage sacks. There was a lot of times where Patrick Mahomes was standing in the pocket, patting the ball, and there was nobody getting open. Like, nobody. There's just nothing there. And he was getting sacked or having to run around, trying to make a play, trying to extend it, and our defensive players were able to get him down to the ground. So shout out to the secondary, shout out to the defense. Everybody played well out there. The second observation I had is we probably win this game if we have DeForest Buckner. But DeForest Buckner being out of this game kind of reminds me of what happened earlier this season a little bit when Charvarius Ward was injured and Mekhi Blackmon and Chris Lamons and Jalen Jones got more playing time and got more experience. So with DeForest Buckner out, Adebawore, Ajake, Gallimore, and JT Tuimoloau were able to get more experience and to get experience against a Chiefs team in a pretty much playoff atmosphere. That's going to roll over to next week against the Texans because that's a legit playoff game. So for these young guys to get experience, get play time, and produce, we had 4 sacks, and a lot of those guys were part of those sacks. Outside of Latu, a lot of these young guys are getting these plays and forcing these pressures. So when DeForest Buckner comes back, it's going to kind of be like how people will look at our defensive stats and defensive rankings and measurements and think that that's who we are, without realizing those first 2 weeks we have Xavier Howard out there, who is now retired, and then we didn't have Charvarius Ward, and now we're going through a little bit of a stretch where we don't have DeForest Buckner. If towards the end of the season and heading into the playoffs, we have Charvarius Ward, Sauce Gardner, and a healthy DeForest Buckner, and an experienced young defensive line group, our defensive stats aren't going to look the way that our defense actually plays. We might be ranked in the middle, but in terms of how we play, we'll be playing a top 10 defense, kind of the same way how the Colts run defense in 2006 was ranked towards the bottom, but then Bob Sanders comes back and we're now all of a sudden a top tier run defense. And I think that's going to be the same thing going towards the end of the season and hopefully into the playoffs. So the third observation I had is Sauce Gardner is still learning the playbook, and Charvarius Ward is still kind of getting his feet wet a little bit, trying to get back into the swing of things. There was a couple of plays out there while I was watching, and you could see Sauce Gardner looking to other people, kind of putting his hands up hey, what am I supposed to do? Am I man, zone, drop? What am I supposed to be doing? There were still a few moments out there where that happened, but over time, Sauce Gardner is going to learn the playbook. He's going to get more comfortable with his teammates and what he's supposed to do, his checks, his reads, all those kinds of things. And this defense, pass defense, will get even better. And with him not even knowing the plays all the way, in man coverage, he still didn't give up any catches. He gave up no catches. So that's him not knowing the playbook fully. Imagine when he's fully comfortable with the playbook and is able to kind of make plays and kind of improvise a little bit because he knows where his help is, where the safeties are going to be, where the linebackers are going to be, where the nickel's going to be, things of that nature. and he can take more gambles out there. And like I said, it's all the trajectory, and it's all going upward the more that he gets comfortable in the system. Same thing with Javarius Ward. He's missed almost a month of football, and it's hard to just go out there against the Chiefs, even off a bye week, and just expect him to be like, obviously as a professional, you would expect him to be completely locked in, but the only way to be comfortable playing football is by playing football. And Javarius Ward hasn't been playing a lot of football. So, yeah, he gave up 2 big catches late to like Rice and Xavier Worthy, which it happens. But for the most part, he did well in man coverage also. But he did an interview with the team, and he spoke about the possibility of him retiring because that's how bad his concussion was that Ogletree put on him when he ran into him. And so that's kind of something that you have to kind of keep in mind a little bit too, where it's like you have to trust yourself out there on the football field to not get hurt. And honestly, when he got he got crushed by some offensive tackle out there, and I thought he was going to be done for the season. And then when I heard that interview, I was like, oh, he might be done for the career. But apparently he said that he got hit like in the chest and shoulder area and not in the head area. He was actually able to come back into the game. I could have sworn that he got a concussion on that play. But like I said, I think the secondary is going to continue to improve. The only person that I'm concerned about in the secondary, and I'm not going to say it too loud. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. We're not going to really I'm not raising any red flags, but my hand is over the panic button. But Kenny Moore kind of got abused by Rashee Rice. Like a lot of those big plays came on Kenny Moore. I'm not saying Kenny Moore is washed. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm just saying that the Kansas City Chiefs saw something in him and were like, that's the guy we're going to pick on. And that's with Mekhi Blackmon and Jalen Jones on the field also. So just something to keep an eye on. Like, there's not a lot of teams out there with 3 legitimately good wide receivers like the Chiefs. Just something to keep an eye on with this Kenny Moore thing. Okay, 4th thing. The linebackers seem to be improving. Jermaine Pratt had a very impressive game. He was all over the place, had like 20 tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, 1 pass defense. I think that's just him getting more and more comfortable with this defense. Now, I've been kind of saying this all year that we need a linebacker that can move horizontally, like with speed in the passing game, because there was a lot of times where running backs or tight ends would just be hitting the flats, and our linebackers take a while to get out there, and they have a little bit more room to run and get more yards. Now, Jalen Carlisle was a full participant in practice. I'm not sure if he's going to play against Houston, but if we can, like, against the run, Jermaine Pratt and Zion Franklin work perfectly in tandem. But with these 2 linebackers, like, being a nickel-based defense, it would be so much better if, and I don't know which one that they replace, but one of those guys has to be replaced and have some sort of pass defending linebacker, someone that can defend the pass, that can cover running backs out in the flats, that can get out to tight ends, that can make plays in zone coverage, because these guys, although they're great in run defense, they're like old school linebackers, but you need linebackers that can move horizontally, fast, quickly, in a hurry. And right now, we don't have that unless Jalen Carlisle comes back. And I'm curious to see how he plays and how he fits into the defense. You made it this far. If you have not liked the video at this point, what are you waiting for? Just like the video. Hit the like button right now. I'm talking to you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe and drop a comment. All that stuff. This is a threat. Not a threat, a warning. But it could be a threat. Just do it. Let me know in the comments what you're thankful for this season. What I'm thankful for the most this season is the addition of Lou Anarumo. And I keep seeing these reports about teams trying to get him to be their head coach. Like the New York Giants are sniffing around. I don't like that. We just got him. We went from Gus Bradley to Lou Anarumo, and we're about to lose him after 1 year. He's got this defense as like 9th in points allowed with like 20 points a game. And we're going to let that walk out the door and he's going to go to the Giants? Like, no chance. We cannot let this happen. I can just see, I can envision the madness that he's going to come up when next season we have Sauce Gardner with 1 year in the system, Javarius Ward with another year in the system, Justin Wally coming back healthy, who was a starting cornerback at the start of training camp, another season of an improved Latu, a healthy DeForest Buckner, and whoever else we draft or bring in via free agency on our defense. Like, in my mind, I see Justin Wally being the Kenny Moore replacement. Imagine having a starting level cornerback at the nickel position in our base defense along with Sauce and Javarius Ward. Like, I want to see what Lou Anarumo does with the defensive players that he had in mind and now these extra guys. I don't want to see him go to the Giants. We cannot let that happen. Absolutely not. So that's the main thing that I'm thankful for this season. I'm so glad that we've gone from Gus Bradley to a more creative defensive play caller that can simulate pressures out there when we don't have our best player like DeForest Buckner out there. Even without Buck, we're still able to get pressures and sacks on the Kansas City Chiefs. And going into this Texans game, it's a playoff game. Like, we have to win this game. We're undefeated at home. We play better at home. We're undefeated after a loss this year. I do not fear the Texans offense against our defense. Now, our offense has to play up to its standards against the number 1 ranked defense, but all we got to do is score 21 points. And I feel like if we score 21 points, we can hold this Texans offense, even with CJ Stroud, to under 21 points. I just don't fear that offense. They have Nico Collins, and that's about it. I would be stunned if the Colts defense allows more than 21 points against this team. Offensively, they got to do their jobs. They got to show up. If our defense can hold the Chiefs to 9 points through 3 quarters, I don't see why we can't do that to the Texans. So going into this game, and these words might come to bite me in the ass later on, I don't have a problem. I don't have any issues with how our defense has been playing this year. And I think our defense is going to shut the Texans down. All we got to do is throw to score, run to win. Run to win. That's it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Drop a like. Subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we're trying to get to 900 subscribers before the end of the season. I'd appreciate it. See you on Monday. We drop videos every Monday at 7 in the morning. See you then. Go Colts.
Thanks for watching, babe. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel.